Welcome. This is a Between Brothers podcast where we bring you real talk, authentic takes, and laughs on sports, pop culture, and life. I'm your host of Duke of Epimanis, Lando, with my big brother, the Chancellor of Charisma, Zero, in the building. What's going on, Zero?
Nothing much. Man, I'm just I'm just old. What's it called? Yesterday, um, my allergy started acting up. So I started having like a major sneezing fit. It's like, and it's always the same problem when I have a sneezing fit. It's like my lower back starts hurting. It's like it's like I ain't activating the gluten. I know it's not a lower back injury. I know it's because glute activation. I need to do a better job of glute activation because
I just want everybody to know this. My brother started the podcast off by saying he needed to clench his cheeks more.
like I'm just
If you need an interpretation.
because I'm just it's like I shouldn't have this issue just by sneezing, but I do. But I do more sitting than I need to. Like because as much as I walk around the house, I'm doing more sitting down and driving than I am actually walking around the house. And so, so it was like, the nature of the job has me sitting more than I am moving around. Um, but I still need to do a better job. I still need to do a better job though, because it shouldn't have to. Because this has been happening since like 2010. It was like, yeah, it was like I was sitting down, I sneezed twice, and it was like I'm thinking it's because of yeah, I was thinking because it was me sitting down on a hard wooden chair, but it was like this has been going on since I was yeah, since 2010. So yeah, so I'm just so I got to get that. Yeah, I just need to go to the doctor and get that shit together. I mean, I'm going to turn 40 in
I
less than
mean,
two
you
months.
said you the doctor already told you go send you to physical therapy and chiropractor. Well, they're just gonna tell you to do the same thing.
No, that was
Get
with no, the doctor never told me to do that when I did physical therapy. I thought that was what I needed to do, but that was for
You usually need a
um
recommendation for physical therapy, so they didn't give you a recommendation for physical therapy.
no, I didn't go to the no, I didn't go to the doctor when I decided to do that.
Uh,
Yeah, I never went to yeah, I never went to the doctor. Um yeah, it was one of those you go on you're scrolling through social media and then it was like, "Hey, we got a deal for you." It was like, yeah, we got it was like for a one-time visit for $39, we can come and x-ray. Yeah, we can come and do some tests and see how is and see how your body's doing. It wasn't like I went yeah, it wasn't I went to the doctor or anything. But even that didn't work because it was like all I had because I'm going to the chiropractor and getting my bones reset when it wasn't my body wasn't misaligned. I was having the not sciatica. Yeah, sciatica issue because I was doing a whole lot of sitting. It was like the moment I stopped doing it and I started moving around more at the job is when the pain went away. So it was like that was a waste. But I than sneezing fits and too much sitting, everything else has been fine.
So y'all know how my weekend was. You know what I'm saying? We champions. I've been a real Knicks fan, a truly, truly, truly Knicks fan since '98. Reason why I say a real Knicks fan since '98, I guess technically '99, the '98-'99 season. So the reason I wouldn't say, even though I always rooted for the Knicks because those are the games they played in New York, um, I rooted for the Knicks until they played the Bulls because Jordan was my favorite player. So for about 70 games a year, I'm I need to round up or something. I don't remember what the schedule was back then. Um, but when the year Jordan actually, let me rephrase that. My first favorite team was the Chicago Bulls because Jordan was winning. So I'm not going to sit here like I was a lifelong Knicks fan. I was not. When Jordan retired the first time, I became a Knicks fan. When Jordan came back, I was a Knicks fan that rooted for Jordan. When Jordan finally retired the second time, I was a Knicks fan from then on, like a true Knicks fan from then on. Even when he came back to the Wizards, I wasn't rooting for the Wizards. I wanted to see Jordan do good, just like I know all of y'all probably have had a favorite player that didn't play for your favorite team. You want to see them do well, but you want to see your team win. So I would say I was a true Knicks fan since '99. But I've always been or I shouldn't say always, I've been a Knicks fan since the mid '90s. The last time I remember crying over a sporting event was when I didn't watch the game, but when I woke up the next morning and saw that the Knicks had lost to the Spurs, shed a couple tears like, man, we never win, you know, anything. Patrick Ewing didn't play that final series. I don't think it would have went different as far as the outcome. Still think we would have lost to the Spurs, but maybe it would have went 6 games instead of 5. I don't know. So fast forward, I'm watching the game. I'm pissed off because the first quarter is starting the same. I'm texting my boy Kyle. I'm like, look, if we can get this within 5, I think we'll be all right. We got it within 5. I'm like, okay, we good. But we were down as many as 16. Jalen Brunson's the only one putting in any points. I'm like, we can't win this way, and it's going to force him to play hero ball, which I never like when he does that. So, Cat, I was like, this dude is mailing it in. Yeah, I'm not 100% because, to be honest, I accidentally didn't upload our last podcast episode. I had it all thinged. I thought I hit the what's it called button, and then I realized when I was looking through my podcasts that our podcast was still the old episode. So I do apologize about that. But I don't remember it was the last podcast that didn't get uploaded or the podcast before. It was probably the podcast before. But I had mentioned as long as Cat doesn't do those idiotic fouls, we can win the finals. That's all he did in game 5. That's all he did. Got fouled out. 4 of his fouls were just stupid bad fouls, like unnecessary fouls. And so I'm pissed at Cat because I'm like, the offense ran better when he would do that. But then another thing was I noticed, but I understand why Cat would get these unnecessary fouls. Because when they had guards guarding him and he would want to go to back them down, they would let them push him, grab him, hold him, just grab him and hold him.
Baby me howdy.
Yeah, they they would do that, and I'm like, okay, like I can see why he's getting frustrated, but get offensive fouls. Don't do it on the other end and get them to the free throw line or put us in the penalty. So,
Throw them bows.
yeah, so you know what I'm saying. So OG couldn't really get an open shot. Mikal Bridges was good in spots. But the Spurs couldn't hit anything except Dylan Harper, and he had a great game. He had a great game five. This is pretty much going to segue into that, but I'm just telling you how my week went. Watch the game. I was at a loss for words. To be honest, I thought I was going to cry. I didn't cry. But I did that. It was the Duchess, so that was great. The Duchess was out with her cousin, so she didn't watch the game with me. The website, I was trying to order the championship memorabilia. The website crashed 5 times. But I was able to get all that gear, and I couldn't believe it. I spent so much money this weekend. It's absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. So it was the Duchess's birthday. I'm like, bruh, all right, this is my budget. Man, I saw that. I saw that budget. I saw that nigga budget and just swung on that nigga. Then beat the shit out of him. Cause that shit went and threw him out the window, because that's exactly what happened. I probably doubled what I meant to spend. And so I blew through that. We had a dinner at what they call the Historic Cavalier Hotel. That was a nice dinner. The food, for as much as that dinner was kind of mid. And not saying like food has to be good because it's expensive, but food better be good when it's expensive. So, in my opinion,
Wait. You're not saying it's got to be good, but it's got to be that.
No, it's not. It don't necessarily. When I say it's like it doesn't have to be good, it doesn't have to be the best thing I've ever eaten.
But it
You see what I'm
has to
saying?
be delicious, though.
But it has to be delicious. You know what I'm saying? And it was. I felt like what I ate there, I could get anywhere. I had octopus for the first time. I've never been disgusted by food. I've never seen food like in real life. I've seen stuff on TV, but I've never seen something in real life that was like, this is nasty looking. So I'm eating the octopus. The first piece of octopus didn't have the suction cups. It didn't taste like anything because it was like grilled, but it just tastes like charred meat. The second piece of octopus I had the suction cups. Nigga, they pop off. The suction cups actually pop off into like, man, they look like the ends, like this, like, all right, so there's a suction part on this side, and let's say the other side that's attached to the actual tentacle. When it comes off of the tentacle, it looks like the end of a stylus. That I couldn't eat no more out of that. I was like, this is disgusting. Let me rephrase that. The Duchess was like, yo, eat it. So I was like, okay, I'll eat it. So it tasted like everything else. Nothing. But I was like, I can't do it. I can't look at it. I can't see these things popping off. I can't see me eating.
Yeah, you start getting goosebumps and shit.
I didn't necessarily get that, but I didn't want to eat stylist tips. You know what I'm saying?
I was just about to say that. I was about to say you over here eating stylist tips.
That's the name of the podcast. So that was good. We had but I had a steak. She had lamb chops. I think that's her go-to. I'm not really a steak person, but when I'm eating at a fancy restaurant, a lot of stuff doesn't seem very appetizing to me. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go with what I know. So that was good. We had a good time there. And for her actual birthday, no, that was on her actual birthday. I took her to this place called The Egg for breakfast. Trash, absolutely trash. I had a steak egg. I had a steak and egg burrito. Tasted like nothing. It tasted like no steak, no eggs. Tastes like substitution. And so I was upset about that. But me, her, and Coco Puff ate there. Coco Puff had some chicken tenders. She wasn't feeling them. Like nothing there was good. Nothing there was good. What else? What else? Um, I bought her a Coach bag, a Pandora bracelet. I was so pissed off. That Pandora bracelet, there was like, yo, it's $80. I'm getting off easy because I was looking up for jewelry at other places. They showing me these flimsy ass bracelets for $1,200. I was like, oh no, you didn't mean it. So I'm like, I'm off it. I'm like, all right, so I pull up to the Pandora. They're like $80. I said, okay. And they was like, you got to buy the Charles separate. I was like, all right, all right, I'll. Then that Mickey figure came up to 500. I was like, and then the lady, I was like, look, I'm already past the budget. She's like, oh, do you want to get a warranty on it? Absolutely not. What do you mean? You want me to spend an extra $180 after I just told you I blew past the budget?
I'm
Get out of
saying,
my face.
fuck that.
Yeah, so got her that. We did the dinner. We had lunch or breakfast that morning. So me, Mace, Coco Puff, we went. I got her a little surprise Pokemon thing because she's starting to get like Pokemon because I started recollecting Pokemon cards. So she wanted a Sylveon thing statue, but you don't know what you get. She ended up pulling the Sylveon, so I was happy for her with that. I ended up buying a thing of cards, and in the packs, I pulled like $100 Eevee card. So that was exciting. But I spent way too much money on Pokemon cards this weekend. Um, and then I pre-ordered some Pokemon cards that's supposed to drop next month.
Oh, okay.
Um, in GameStop, I didn't know GameStop sold Pokemon cards. So dude was like, "Yeah, how many do you want? You can get up to four cases, 4 boxes." And I'm like, "So wait, bros, we spending $1,200 on Pokemon?" And they're like, "Yeah, you can get up to 4. So you got 1,200. You can drop to 1,200." And that's for you remember back in when we used to do Yu-Gi-Oh! Anyways, they had the booster boxes.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how people bought them back then, but apparently, but also we ain't never had that kind of money to buy them. So that's probably why. It's one of those things where it's like, when you in a certain tax bracket, you get exposed to different things. So
Yeah.
so that was pretty much, but like I said, I had a great weekend. That happened. The Duchess, birthday was Friday. We're recording on a Monday, so her birthday was a Friday. Knicks won Saturday. Sunday I forgot what we did Sunday. We went to lunch, I think. Yeah, so yeah, we had lunch at this place called the Porch, which I had a lobster salad sandwich, which was pretty good. Um, but yeah, man, it was a great weekend. Overall, great week overall. So yeah, that was my week. That segment is a little bit longer than what we normally do, but the Knicks won the championship, so let's get to it. Like I said, I gave details about the game. There's some main things I wanted to touch on. The Knicks are NBA champions. Like I said, I am a Knicks fan. I've been a Knicks fan for as long as I can remember. Um, I became a die easy Knicks fan because I didn't think that the Knicks ownership cared about winning, similar to the Jets ownership. So I pretty much got rid of all my Knicks and Jets memorabilia. And so if you came to my house, you wouldn't see anything until my championship year comes. So, which I did say I'd start buying gear if they made the Eastern Conference Finals, which they did last season. I just never got around to buying anything. So yeah, so it's been that. When it comes to the Jalen Brunson, he was spectacular. It's the best closeout performance I've seen since Giannis's closeout performance against the Suns. It's not the best I've ever seen. The best I've ever seen was Jordan in that game six, where his final shot. Um, so Brunson, fantastic. Wemby, not as much. People still blaming De'Aaron Fox for the reason why they lost, and the refs were an issue the entire series, specifically um, how they called Wemby, how they officiated Wemby. So, Zero, give me your thoughts. I've done enough talking. What were your thoughts on the NBA championship? What was your thoughts on the NBA finals? Overall, game five, give it to me.
Um, the series, yeah, the series. I was excited about the
You're not on
series.
camera.
Oh, hold on, my fault, my fault. Yeah, the series. I was excited about the series. It was so funny to me that every game the Knicks were down double digits and it was like they always found a way to come back and come back and come back. It was like besides yeah, they did make a run in game they did make a run in game
Four.
3.
No, three, yeah,
Yeah,
three.
they did make a run in game 3, but they just came up short. um like what's it called, yeah, Brunson, it was like when he had to turn it on, he turned it on. The same thing with Cat, and yeah, with Cat and the fouls, like you we were talking about, it was like sometimes you gotta do better. But what's it called, overall, like I think the Spurs need to retool. Probably you got to figure out. Well, no, not really. Um, I don't think so. But when it comes down to the Knicks winning the series, it was exciting. It was like, even though I don't root for the Knicks, it was exciting to see them win, and the win in the fashion that they did as well.
Yeah, Brunson, 45 points in that final game. He scored 40, of course, 45 of the 94 points of the game. So he scored, 47, 48% of the team's points. Like I said, he was spectacular. He was the only one making shots. We couldn't make a shot inside. We didn't make a shot inside the 3-point line until like 4 minutes left in the first quarter, I think, or somewhere around there. So it was just, and Wemby was blocking everything. He had 4 blocks in the first quarter. We were able to neutralize that because he only had 1 block. He had 5 blocks for the first half and finished the game with 5 blocks. So he wasn't a factor when it came to blocking shots. And, it seemed like the players, as the game wore on, weren't as intimidated by his shot blocking as the game wore on. Wembanyama defensively, he deserved Defensive Player of the Year, but they showed the flaw in his defense, which is very similar to Anthony Edwards. A lot of people think that Anthony Edwards is an elite defender, and he is a very good defender, but it's mostly because of his athleticism
Hmm.
than him actually being a great defensive player. So he'll make plays defensively, but he's not an elite defensive player.
Hmm.
Um, Similar to and so with Wemby, once they were putting him on they were isolating him against Brunson, throughout the series, which you would never think to do something like that with a guy like Wemby, just because he can you can beat him by 2-3 steps and he can still block your shot. Um, so that he didn't really adjust well to that. He had 14 rebounds, 5 blocks, 19 points. 19 points on 19 shots. He's got to get more efficient. He's the
Yeah.
tallest guy on the court. Like, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people's like, hey, he needs to get in the weight room. He needs to get bigger. Wemby doesn't need to get bigger. Wemby needs to get stronger. You've never seen these guys 7'4" and above be very strong and have a very strong low post presence. The best,
Mm.
the only guy who had a real good low post presence, and he wasn't necessarily a strong guy, was Yao Ming. But you could push Yao Ming around because he's 7 feet tall or 7'5". You know, Wemby's 7'4", 7'5". So it's just like that's not going to be him. So a lot of people are making a big deal off of him walking off the court.
Yeah.
I don't care. I never cared. I know y'all try to act like y'all care because Michael Jordan cared. Like, but he went to the locker room to cry. Like, let him.
Yeah.
Was you mad at Red for crying in the car? So let's not be mad at Wemby for going to cry in the car. Now, I said a lot of insults about Wemby. My boy Kyle was like, my diehard fandom is finally leaking out. But what I didn't like was the dirty plays. The
Mm.
pushing of the head of the back of the head of Wemby or of Brunson. And people was like, oh, it's because Wemby was grabbing him. And it's like,
Okay. It was like of all the grabbing that the Spurs were doing that entire series,
everybody was grabbing everybody. That series was very physical, in which that's how the Spurs beat OKC. They made it very physical, or they matched the physicality
Yeah.
of OKC because OKC is a very physical team. And in OKC, maybe because they had just came off a finals run, their body started to break down. And
Mm.
also, what's his name wasn't getting any calls. SGA. He wasn't getting the free throw, the calls that he would normally get throughout the season. And even without the calls, that game 7, he played fantastic.
Yeah.
But they got physical. The series was physical, but Wemby was doing things that was just outright dirty. And it's just like, why?
And the
They were
fact that
grabbing him.
everybody wants
But
to,
it's like you threw an elbow at a guy's throat 2
yeah.
series ago.
And the fact that everyone wants to keep on wants to blame Fox like he was the only reason why they lost the series. It's like, yeah, he plays a part, but Castle, it was like, let's talk about
Castle
Castle
went 1 for
making
10.
one field goal, and that was at the end of the game on a tip back. Um, was yeah, it's like the Spurs going down the Spurs pulling the Rockets, like can't make the shots that they need to make down the stretch to keep the Knicks at bay. That was like
That was the
that
case
was an
in
issue.
every game.
Yeah, every game
In
was like you
every
can't
game.
you're not making the shots that you need to make, and that's why the Knicks come right back. It's like because y'all not making the shots you need to make, and it's like oh, what is De'Aaron Fox doing? It's like yeah, let's blame De'Aaron Fox because he's the vet on the team. It's like yeah, De'Aaron Fox. It was like you
De'Aaron Fox was the reason they won. They were able to
game
keep,
three.
yeah, they were able to keep the Knicks at bay for game 3. So he had a blunder in game 4, but everybody's like, oh, he should have pulled the ball out. What pulled it out to do what? Shave off a half a second off the clock and have to go make 2 free throws? Like, was it the best play? No. But if I'm De'Aaron Fox, nobody's ever rained down De'Aaron Fox. He's that fast. He's
Mm.
arguably the fastest player in basketball. Why am I going to think that the dude is going to block my shot?
Exactly.
So it's just like, I get, was it a bad play? Was it not the smartest play? Absolutely. Was it the play that cost them the game? No. I want to repeat that that did not cost them the game. There was two things that actually cost them the game. Wemby missing two free throws down the line.
Yep.
Because if that same situation happens, the Knicks or the Spurs are still up three if Wemby doesn't break those two free throws.
Shoot, he went 1 for 4 in the fourth quarter, shooting free throws in game five, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing is they didn't box out, which allowed OG Ananobi to get the tip back. Those is what cost them the game.
Mm.
Not like y'all want to point it at one play, and you want to point it at one player that's not named Wembanyama. But guess what? They weren't a playoff team with Wembanyama. They're a playoff team with De'Aaron Fox. They weren't. They're not only a playoff team with De'Aaron Fox. They're a championship contending team with De'Aaron Fox. Cut it out.
And that's with a guy who wasn't never on a championship contending team.
So did De'Aaron Fox have a boneheaded play? Absolutely. But really, his biggest bonehead play wasn't that. His biggest bonehead play was when the Knicks were getting momentum, and then for some reason he decides to unnecessarily shove um, uh, Hart, Josh Hart, in the back, and
uh-huh.
he makes some miracle Kyrie like layup.
Let's say he could not decide whether to dunk it or lay it up and miss the easy bucket, but he gets pushed and this dude flick his wrist.
And put the English on it.
That was the first thing I said as soon as I saw him make that shot. I was like, hold on, you couldn't make it's like I know y'all won, but you couldn't make an easy layup, but you make that. Like,
But
you
Gilbert
know what's
Arenas
the
had mentioned like, yo, like as basketball players, you miss a lot of shots you make all the time, and you make some shots that you weren't supposed to make. Like you just throw it up and it happens to go in. So and that's what
and
happened.
you
And
know
then
what's the
and that ended up being a 5 point play. So like the Ananobi block, the Ananobi block didn't turn into points. You know what I'm saying? Like the Ananobi block didn't turn directly into points. Let's talk about game two where where Wemby throws it off of his guard's back. Which it makes sense. It's like he Castle's looking for the ball. Wemby takes two dribbles. By then, you give him the ball up if you're going to give it
yeah.
up. So Castle decides to turn up court. Then Wemby decides, oh, now I want to throw the ball after a third dribble. And then not only that, fouls Brunson to put him on the free throw line. So it's just like, what are we doing? Like it was Wemby who constantly made boneheaded plays and didn't make free throws. And he's like an 80-something% free throw shooter throughout the regular season and throughout the postseason. But he never had to make free throws when the game was on the line. So I want everything that y'all said about LeBron, I need to hear that about Wemby.
The funniest thing about the whole series for me was on Facebook. It was right after the it was right after the what's it called? Out this bullshit ass NBA script saying that the Spurs were gonna win in 7 games. It's the first yeah, this guy the and it's just this random guy on Facebook, and the first comment was, we probably would have believed you if you didn't post this after game 4. It's like we was like, where was this script before the series started? He was like, oh, I just saw it. It's like, no, you just typed it up, nigga. Shut the fuck up. It's like, no, you a guy that wants the Spurs to win, and you think from they're gonna come back from 3-1 down. Yeah, down 3-1. Like, you are a Spurs fan. This is what you wanted. Or he was like, yeah, the NBA wants the Spurs to come back from a
That
3-1
doesn't
deficit.
even make sense. What benefit does the NBA have of letting the Spurs win? One of the worst team markets in basketball. Like nobody outside of San Antonio is a Spurs fan. Cut it out. You saw how New York showed up in San Antonio.
Yep.
What are we talking about?
You would have thought it was a home game.
So, you know, Mitch Johnson.
Yeah.
Here's something. Again, I don't want to blame the refs. The officiating was bad. What I didn't like was Wemby, because Wemby was pretty much a flagrant away from not being able to perform in the next game if it happened that way, and
Uh,
then he falls in the landing zone. What's his name? Thank God he was able to get through it. Brunson
yeah.
actually turned his ankle. And then he went slam off on the ref, and they didn't throw no tee up. They didn't tee him up.
Yeah.
And I think if it wasn't the finals, they would have teed him up. And also, I think that they knew like we can't do this in this moment, so they let him go off because it's just like because then it's going to make the refs look really bad. Okay,
Yeah.
you tee him up, yet you don't call the flagrant. And then that was one thing I don't like about the NBA challenges. In the NFL, which I get, I understand why the NFL does it. But like there was a couple of plays that were overturned from Cat and Wemby where they called a foul on Wemby, but then they reviewed it and it was like, oh, it was actually a foul on Cat. The NFL wouldn't do that. So they threw a flag for pass interference, but it was actually the offensive player that pushed off. They're just saying it wasn't pass interference.
Yeah.
The NBA, they're like, oh, well, actually, this was a foul on the other person, so we're going to overturn it and then give the foul to the other guy. And it's just like I don't personally like that, but I think it's because I'm used to the NFL's way because the NFL's done it for so much longer.
But how would that even work if they didn't? Yeah,
Just
how
the
yeah, like,
the
they
same way
just they
that
just
if you
give possession to.
yeah, you just a side out and just like how they do in the NFL, they just play the down again.
Yeah, because it was an inbound for the Knicks.
Yeah, so like if the offensive play, like in Cat's case, he grabbed in the egregious one, anyways, where he grabbed Wemby's arm, and then they were like, oh, like he was hooking his arm or whatever. And it's like, no, Wemby was just kept his arm in there. His arm wasn't hooked.
Uh,
But they were like, well, it's a foul on Cat because initially on the catch, he fouled him. Like he grabbed
yeah,
the arm. And it was just like, no, like it wasn't a foul on Wemby. So we're playing it again. Just like I said, if it was offensive pass interference versus a defensive pass
it'd just be a
interference,
dead play, and
it would
then
just we just play the down again.
all right.
But Mitch, one thing I don't want to make this about LeBron, but one thing I do like, I think LeBron needs to get a lot more credit. I want to make sure I get the stat right. I want to make sure I get the stat right. Wembanyama played 38 minutes. It's win or go home. LeBron has never sat in a win or go home game unless the game is out of reach. They kept taking Wemby in spots. Wemby was winded, very winded throughout the game. I don't know, it's because he's so tall. I don't know how that works for tall people. He's a foot and a half taller than me, so I don't know how that works. He's thin, so he's thin. You usually don't see thin people gas out as much as he has. So I don't know what that dynamic is. And he didn't really play a lot of minutes throughout the regular season. And maybe that's part of the challenge. Because I think they were like, if he won the MVP, he would have played the least amount of minutes out of any MVP player ever. Like, and it wasn't even like by a small margin either. And this is coming from a player like Steph Curry, who I think had held the record, who was sitting out full quarters because they were up by so much.
Yeah.
So, so it's just like I don't know what that's about. But like I said, when LeBron played that, did his 3-1 comeback, I don't think I know he played every minute of the game 6 and 7. Don't really remember game 5. But like, no, I'm not sitting. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna win this game, and I'm gonna make sure I play every minute of the game because it's win or go home. So it's just like, has LeBron fallen short in the clutch and things of that nature? Absolutely, especially the Mavericks series. He wasn't very clutch against OKC either, but we got to give LeBron credit for being in that kind of shape. Same thing with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan played damn near every minute when games were close. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and we all know about the flu game and everything like that. So it's just like, we have to give those guys credit. And everybody's like, Wemby got crowned too early. Wemby did not get crowned too early. Wemby is a fantastic player. When Wemby made it to the finals, and you thinking about Wemby versus the Knicks have no superstars. Brunson has now become a superstar, but you didn't think about any of those guys as true superstars. So yeah, you're gonna pick the team that has the superstar. So I'm glad that Wemby lost to us in the Olympics. Wemby has lost 2 championships to the teams that I was rooting for, and it makes me happy. I wasn't a Wemby hater until now. I only like Wemby when he goes up against Chet Holmgren. I don't like Chet Holmgren at all. So I'll root for Wemby to do well every time he sees that. I don't want him to beat OKC, but I will root for him to dominate that dude because I can't stand that dude.
It's like, get that motherfucking numbers.
Yeah, he need to give him numbers every single time. He need a low digits on him. But one last thing I want to touch on before we move on to the next topic is what's next for New York. Is it can the Knicks repeat? Like, who's now the threat in the East? Because we saw the Pistons fall apart, and they were a team that matched up well with the Knicks. We don't know what the Pacers, what Halliburton's going to look like coming back. So because the Pacers have matched up with us last season very well. What's going to happen in the offseason? Because there's a lot of Giannis to Miami, Giannis to Boston talk. So what's that going to look like? Are the Knicks a team that can repeat? Odds are that we're going to lose Mitch Robinson. And I think they're due to re-sign Brunson, so we'll see what that contract looks like. But what's next for New York? Can they repeat? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking analytically. The Cavs.
The Cavs should be the NBA champions analytically.
Right now.
If only those were the results that matter.
So,
Oh, and the Knicks got dominated every game. They got dominated every game. That's what, according to Wembanyama.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got dominated every game, but they didn't because you lost.
Analytically.
You know what I'm saying? Wembanyama, hey, we dominated. We the statistic they led for 173 minutes of the game. They held the lead for 173 minutes, and that's fine. You just only had the lead when Donald Trump showed up. You'd be swept if Donald Trump never showed up. But
Yeah, but what's it called?
I digress.
But I think the when it comes to the East, I'm really particular in what happens with Indiana because your best player was out the entire year. What does the
And so y'all can play like a who you play for player.
um there was it's especially like you said with the Giannis situation. What I think whoever gets Giannis ends up being the odds-on favorite.
Yeah, I would love to see those betting odds when Giannis gets dealt. I heard it's supposed to be before the draft, so we'll see.
All right.
Um, One last thing I want to say. I did say there's going to be last thing, but this is really going to be last. All right. So because I wasn't slobbing on the Knicks meat, I got called once again. I got, as usual, because I'm objective. I get called a fake fan by the diehard fans. I'm not gonna claim I'm a diehard fan of the Knicks. I'm not gonna claim I'm a diehard fan of anybody. What I am gonna say though is when the Anunoby trade happened, a lot of Knicks fans said I saw a lot of Knicks fans in Knicks forum saying they didn't like the deal. RJ Barrett was developing. I'm like, no, we need a guy like OG. We need a guy who can lock down defensively. No, RJ Barrett, he can't score. He's injury prone. Look what happened. Uh, Jalen Brunson, when we signed him, I said on this podcast, whoever gets Jalen Brunson in the offseason, they're going to have themselves a really good player. Luka is the reason why you don't know who Jalen Brunson is. On this podcast, to King Sean. King Sean didn't disagree with me. So I'm not going to sit here and act like, but I said on this podcast, he was a really good player. Knicks fans all over, Stephen A. Smith, people on TV, Jalen Brunson. Look what happened. Been saying to get rid of Randall for years. Man, Randall, the Duchess's brother. Man, I know you don't like Randall, but this, but that. Look at his numbers. Look what he did in his playoff series. Okay. So every move that I co-sign is Mikal Bridges is one of my 5 favorite players in basketball. I'm not saying he's one of the best. I've been saying if the Bucks could get him and replace Chris Middleton with him, I thought there would be an NBA championship team. I thought when he was putting up numbers in Brooklyn, I'm like, okay, those are great, but I don't think that he's a star player. He's a great complementary player. When the Knicks got him, I loved it because he's one of my favorite players in basketball, but I loved it. Man, we gave up too much for him. Then what happened in the press conference? I forget the guy's name, 55. F them picks. We got a ring now. F them picks. So it's just everything that I said we needed to do. All the things where I was like, this is a good move, and all the Knicks fans were saying, I don't know what I'm talking about. We got a ring. I love the Cat move. I love Cat. I love Cat as a player. I love him coming out of college. He didn't pan out to be what I thought he would be as far as like the best center in basketball, but he's still a top 5 center in basketball. I can't. People's like, oh, you really think Cat is better than Randall? You don't play with Brunson better than Randall. Man, you stupid. You stupid. If the finals would have ended if the finals would have ended after game 2, he was the finals MVP. All I'm saying is we get on this podcast, we talk every week about sports, pop culture, and life. When it comes to sports, y'all need to listen to us. Because guess what? We know one or two things. We don't get everything right. We're just always right. On to the next topic. All right. So I didn't upload this episode, but it actually works better with this episode than the last one. That Karmelo Anthony was found guilty. And he was sentenced to 35 years. Jury deliberation was for three hours. Like they didn't spend any time discussing it really. The thing that everybody focused on was why did he have a knife? It wasn't a knife; it was a multi-tool. It came with a flashlight, came with other things, but there is a blade on the tool. And apparently, from what people said, there's been nobody who's talked about what they saw on the video that said anything different from what had been reported beforehand. Because which people were like, why is the media not displaying the video? There was video of surveillance of this. Because in most cases, they would just put the video out. But they were like, even as disgusting as I think this person is, Charleston White was like, the video showing that Karmelo is innocent. So what everybody, white people and black people included, were saying that it looked like these boys, it was multiple boys attacking Karmelo Anthony, including Austin Metcalf, who ended up getting stabbed. Apparently, the wound wasn't very deep. It was a 2-inch wound for a 3-inch blade. There was a white woman who said he fell into the blade. Why does that matter? I'm not an attorney. I'm not an investigator or anything like that. But generally speaking, when you stab somebody, you go through it. The entire blade goes in. So the fact that the blade partially went, now it was far enough to kill him. But generally, if you stab somebody, that thing is driving until it can't go no more. So, and he did go to a teacher. He did turn himself in. I'm not saying that Karmelo Anthony should not have been given any sort of jail time. When you call it first degree murder, that means it was premeditated. I don't believe, and I don't know how a jury could come to believe that he brought a knife to school with the intent of killing somebody. I don't know how you can come to that. But I do know how you can come to that. The great American philosopher Lando has been saying on this podcast for about a year, it's always racism. Every time Black people do something, Black people have never been seen as human in this country. Every time Black people do something, they think the worst of you. Every single time. Self-defense is not a law for Black people. I want y'all to listen to me. Self-defense is not a law for Black people. There's no such thing as self-defense when it comes to Black people. It's either murder or not. the young lady who had reported multiple times. I don't remember her name. Multiple times of this her significant other abusing her, and she shoots at him. The stand your ground law didn't exist because it was a warning shot. Because it was a warning shot. Nobody got hurt. She's doing 20 years. The police told George Zimmerman to leave Trayvon Martin alone and don't follow him. Yet he gets to follow him, assault him, and then when he's getting his ass beat, Trayvon actually defending himself against a predator, he gets shot and killed, and they let him off. There's no such thing as self-defense for Black people. So I want us as Black people to try to, like, I don't know how we can navigate this, because you should have a right to defend yourself.
Especially when he was approached. He was approached. He didn't show up, start talking smack to everybody, got in Metcalf's face, and Metcalf, yeah, threatened Metcalf with a knife or any. No, he didn't do any of that. But of course, he was tried as because he was 17, tried as an adult.
Black kids are tried as adults on, like, I think, like at 3 or 4 times the rate as white kids are at the same age. I think I want to say in certain states, and this is why like when you think about laws, and there's no law that's racist, but there's no law that's racist as saying if you're Black you can and can't do this, or if you're white you can't. But here's why certain laws are racist. So we know that young kids get into gangs,
Mm-hmm.
usually teenagers, 13, 14, 15 years old. States that have gang related stuff? I want to say New York, California, and there's like a couple other states. You can try a 14-year-old as an adult. Why? Because there's gang violence. And with gang violence, that teenager is likely to kill somebody. So we got to try him as an adult. But that Caucasian kid that has issues, that kills his parents because of whatever, he's not tried as an adult. He's tried as a juvenile, and he's out in 4 years. And it's just like, there's no such thing as self-defense. Even when it's Black to Black, there's no such thing as self-defense. You're a menace to society if you do harm to someone.
Regardless.
His dad gets on social media and he's like, they couldn't put Black people on there because you guys are stupid. I'm paraphrasing there.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much says that Black people are stupid for thinking that there should have been Black jurors on there, because he was like, you can't be biased. So for some reason, you think that Black jurors on a Black juror on the jury would be biased because they're Black. But you don't believe that the white jurors wouldn't be biased to your son because he's white. And that's the problem that white America has. Because to be honest, when there's been a mix of jurors, a healthy mix of jurors racially, they tend to be down the middle. Even I saw this statistic, gifted kids. My oldest daughter, Lollipop, she was put into gifted program. Black teachers promote white kids and Black kids at the same rate to gifted or advanced programs. White teachers promote white kids to Black kids, same white kids and Black kids, at a 70-30 rate. So inherently, you think the white kid is smarter.
Mm.
So it's like black people have actually been in the legal system, in the educational system, in every system. Black people have been the most unbiased people, but because of your hatred, your racism, and all the despicable deeds that y'all do, y'all are afraid that everybody thinks like you because you're pathetic. I saw this video. I don't remember the lady's name, but she said this. She asked this white man, "Without racism, what are you? You have nothing. You have no power. You have nothing. And I'm talking about those people who are racist. But without racism, you're literally nobody. You're uneducated. And it's because and with the behavior that that man showed is the reason why his son is dead. You, sir, killed your son because you taught him that it was okay to push people around because you're bigger and stronger than them. You taught him it was okay because you're white. It's okay to be this. It's okay to be that. All things he mentions watermelon and making like racial jokes and things of that nature. That's why your son is dead. Your son is not dead because of Carmelo Anthony.
He's dead because of what you taught in your own household.
He's dead because of what you built in your home. And you jump on social media talking crazy like that, like and emboldening your surviving son to continue to behave that way.
And then
Your son didn't love his brother. Because this is called the Between Brothers podcast. We are real brothers. Now, our mother told us if one of us fight, we all fight. If my brother saw that I was about to do something stupid and I was gonna get into a fight that I started, like I'm up in somebody's face, I'm talking crazy, I'm doing this other stuff, my brother's gonna pull me aside and attempt to calm me down. Y'all thought because this guy was 5'7", 130 pounds, and you guys are 6'3", or 6'1", 230 pounds, 240 pounds, y'all can just bully him. Nah, it didn't work like that. And you lost his son. Like at the end of the day, your son is dead, bro. At the end of the day, your son is dead.
no amount of anything that you say out of your fucking mouth is going to change the fact that your son is dead.
Because and also at the end of the day, that young man, he's gonna spend a big chunk of his life in prison if he can't get an appeal. But he still get to walk out.
Yep,
He will still be young enough to start a family.
yeah, there were folks that were saying that were making memes of Metcalf you wearing a shirt saying I used to bully people.
And again, now if what they said was true, um, uh, they say the arguments or the dispute started because Carmelo Anthony was talking trash about the football team, and so they took offense to it. So they didn't, and then also they didn't ask him to leave; they demanded him to leave. There's a difference. Y'all are trying to frame it so where these boys look innocent. Nobody was innocent in this matter. Everybody was guilty in this matter. But at the end of the day, that young man should not be doing 35 years. But you were born guilty because of the color of your skin. And this is the stuff that like The great American philosopher Dante's Boxing Nation has been saying this, and I've been watching for about 7, 8, 9 years. White people have the protection or the complexion for the protection. We need to protect other white boys from black kids like him. Because the thing that everybody was harping on was, why did he have a knife? But nobody harped on why Kyle Rittenhouse had a gun. Nobody harped on that. This is the last thing I'm going to say about this. Everybody keeps comparing those cases, Kyle Rittenhouse, Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, all those things where unarmed black people were killed by white people. I need people to focus on one case. Michael Brown. If you are in the group of people who said Mike Brown, the police officer shooting and killing Mike Brown, was justified because he feared for his life, because an unarmed, large black person punched him in the face. And this dude got hit so hard that he had a little red mark on his face. They showed the pictures. You can look at the pictures online. Little red mark on his face. Thought that his life was in danger. And so it justified him shooting and killing him. But you don't think that with a significantly larger size discrepancy, 200 plus pounds to 130 pounds. Because I don't remember the cop's name, but the cop was not a small guy. Mike Brown was not a small guy either, but the cop was not a small guy. If he could feel like his life was in danger because of fists from a bigger person, why couldn't Karmelo Anthony feel the same way? So if you justify that police officer shooting and killing Mike Brown, then you are absolutely racist if you believe the opposite. No matter how much you want to claim that you're not, we don't care. You're racist. I don't care about Kyle Rittenhouse. I don't care. That's the case I think we need to focus on. Because there are larger person versus smaller person. Smaller person got assaulted by the larger person. The smaller person felt like his life was in danger because he got assaulted by the smaller person. So he shot and killed him. But the other person tells him to step off. If you keep doing this, something bad gonna happen to you. He tested, he effed around and found out, and he lost his life in front of his brother. It's unfortunate what happened to Austin Metcalf, but if our children give any kind of bully behavior and we're against bullying, we need to beat it out of them. And I don't mean physically all the time, but you need to make sure I'm somebody who like bullying bullies. You want to roast on somebody who can't defend themselves? Oh, guess what? I got words for you. My oven preheated to 400. If you want to beat up somebody who, because they smaller than you, guess what? I got hands for you. They rated E10. And I ain't talking about age. It's going to be 10 shots before you put down. I ain't going to hit you no more No more than that before you down and out. So, nah, like if your kids are performing those behaviors even against amongst their siblings, get it out of them because they can end up like Austin Metcalf. Because guess what? At the end of the day, what that young man, Carmelo Anthony, being in prison is a horrible thing. Um, because his life is going to be double his life is going to be spent inside of prison versus outside of prison. And that's extremely unfortunate. But he got to walk away. Austin didn't. Zero, your thoughts.
It's like you said, Carmelo, he has his 35, but he gets to walk away. He even though he's going to spend a lot of time in prison, he still gets to live and breathe. While Metcalf made the choice to continue pushing the envelope and literally sealed his fate because there's nothing that anybody can say yeah, especially at a fucking track meet. It's like there's nothing that anybody should say that will provoke that will make you want to approach this kid and feel like you have to be physically intimidating. There ain't no reason for any of that. But like he said, he wanted to be a bully. He fucked around and found out. Now, now he's dead. Father's been showing his true colors. It's it's unfortunate for all sides in this situation because because a kid is gone, another is going to, one kid is gone, another is going to jail, and all it's doing is dividing everybody because you have people on one side feeling like the feeling like the punishment is too harsh because I think there was another case where a white kid stabbed a Hispanic kid and he only got 10 years, I believe.
Same state and everything.
Say, yeah, and you have folks on the internet because folks are only brave on the internet, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like they're on the internet saying that Carmelo deserved everything that he got. It's like yeah, but whenever it comes to these sort of things, yeah, whenever it comes to any of these social matters, it shows exactly yeah, it shows exactly what folks are actually like. All it does is show their true colors. It's like every time something like this happens and there's a debate about it, the folks that you yeah, it's like folks yeah, they're folks will show their true colors, and that's all this thing has shown is that there was no like you said, black folks can't use self defense. It's like it's like I said, it's just completely unfortunate. Like you said before, the I want to add on to it. It's like so white folks got the complexion for the protection, black folks got the don't have the hue for their just due.
Yeah. Um, there was one other thing I was thinking about we could discuss, but when I looked more into it, it was just people jumping the gun a little bit. There has been, and my battery's on 7%, so we'll wrap this up.
Got you.
The the There's been a ceasefire for the Strait of Hormuz has been opened up a little bit. They're letting some ships through, so gas prices have been coming down lately.
Mm.
Um, Actually, I think about like $1.20, $1.30 in my area, or in my area, anyways. Over the last few days. So the ceasefire has allowed that to happen. The Israelis usually don't honor these things very long. So we'll see what happens. But what, um, but I've been hearing they're going to release $25 billion worth of assets, which, like I said, there's nothing been set in stone. There has been no deal made yet, but there is like the 30th ceasefire for this now.
Yeah. Apparently, they're supposed to be signing. The deal should be signed by Friday.
Who said that? If Donald Trump said that, it's a lie. But
Nah, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't Donald. It was there was a reporter that had discussed it. Yeah, I saw the breaking news and they were like, even though Trump is saying that they got something signed, um, it still has to go through Congress.
okay, but
Yeah, they still Friday should be happening and supposedly they're gonna be signing it in Switzerland.
okay, good. So to wrap up that quick hit topic, I guess, um, we will discuss it next week if there is an actual deal that happens. And then Donald Trump's going to say it's the greatest deal. It's probably going to be the worst. So yeah. Zero. What's your parting shot?
Go to the doctor. Go to the doctor and get your life in order. Because I damn sure haven't, and yeah, I damn sure haven't. I definitely need to do that and make sure your health is in order. Health is wealth.
Absolutely, absolutely. My parting shot is the Knicks are champions. The Knicks are champions. I never thought I'd see it as long as James Dolan was the owner of the New York Knicks.
You know, was sabotaged it by bringing in Trump.
He did try to sabotage it by bringing in Trump. Thank God, thank God that I finally root my favorite sport, my favorite team has won a championship. But part two of my parting shot, y'all need to listen to us. We told y'all Seattle was going to win. We told y'all the Knicks was going to win. We told y'all the Hurricanes was going to win. We 3 for 3 in the major sports. If you want to learn how to predict, how to be Lando Stradamus, Zero Stradamus, I want y'all to listen to this podcast and get the predictions and put your money on whoever we say. Bet the house.
Or bet half the apartment.
Nah, we need the house. Borrow money to bet. If we say it, it comes to fruition. Anyways,
Calci, nigga.
anyways, that's it for us. Thank y'all so much for watching and or listening. If you're consuming this on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, this has been the Between Brothers podcast. We love you. We'll see you next week.